Alrighty everyone, welcome back. Here we are. This is going to be game number 2 between Minigun and IdrA in the series between these two players. This time we are here on Metalopolis. We do have Minigun spawning in the 3 o'clock position as our blue Protoss player, and then up over here in the 12 o'clock IdrA as the green Zerg player. And IdrA last game, clearly not too thrilled with the strength of those force fields. As I mentioned last game, early game, force fields, pretty abusive, and we saw Minigun take full advantage of that. Forge fast expanding, going blink stalkers, and then sentry heavy for a push, using a warp prism to drop those sentries in IdrA's main, keep him from protecting the stalker heavy push that was coming, and that allowed Minigun to mop up pretty much everything in IdrA's main and then just move on to his natural. Now, IdrA did what you expect him to do and pushed out with a counterattack. I mean, you can't get into your main. What are you going to do? So he moved out with a counterattack, and you know what he dealt with? More force fields. And that's, I would imagine, pretty infuriating. And as we saw, IdrA just decided to leave the game. He wasn't too happy with the way things turned out, quite evidently. Now, we can see right now Minigun starting off with that initial pylon at the front of his ramp there in the main base. Obviously, we'll be opening up one base play here. Forge fast expanding, much more difficult on a map like this. And then moving out with the scout now. Again, scouting out, being scouted immediately, will force IdrA to go ahead and get that pool first. So as soon as he gets those 200 resources, there we go, opening up pool first. And yeah, that's pretty much that. That's all there is to say about it. We can see IdrA scouting out the front, and as expected, there's that initial gateway. So we will be seeing Minigun start off with the one base play. We'll be seeing, of course, that assimilator very shortly. There we go. And then that second pylon. In terms of placement, a lot of times you will see that next pylon placed over here. It is also possible for him to go somewhere a little bit closer to the nexus as well, or even scout out the edge, although the ones that are placed over here are usually a little bit later down the road. And there we go. We'll be actually going nice and tight to the main base there. I don't know why I said the natural. Nice and tight to the main base there. This is going to allow the rest of his buildings after the Cybernetics core goes here to be placed in this position. Over here, pylon harasses coming from Minigun, preventing IdrA from being able to come out with that expo. It will not be until that spawning pool pops. There we go. First 4 Zerglings should be coming out. Actually, no, just 2. Opening up with just the 2 Zerglings instead of 4. He's going to be quite content with that. And here comes another extractor as well. Clearly, IdrA won't be going for a quick third this game. As last game, his decision to do so was informed by the fact that Minigun had gone Forge Fast Expand. But since Minigun's opening up on one base, going for a quick third wouldn't make a lot of sense. So he is deciding to come out with that extractor right now. We'll be getting that saturated sometime shortly, and there we go, working down that pylon right now, going to allow IdrA to go ahead and drop that hatchery in just one moment at around 21 supplies when we will be seeing that come through. Alright, Cybernetics core now finished. The first zealot is out. Here comes a stalker immediately after. That's what is going to be expected right now. So immediate stalker, or is actually going to be going straight to sentry. Could be going, yeah, no, we'll be going stalker first, and we'll actually be rallying this back here in an attempt to be able to do some damage to the overlord. Don't expect it to get out in time to actually kill off the overlord, but a couple shots are certainly possible. Second assimilator is right now up. Here's another overlord. We'll be rallying right over here, and this will be used for secondary scouting probably in the next 2 to 3 minutes there. We do have full map control right now going to IdrA. He's got both towers. Now we do have a zealot moving out, and this should force IdrA to pull back with that Zergling, and actually zealot will be making up and get probably a shot or 2 off. Oh no, nice micro there by IdrA, sneaking right by the zealot. Stalker is in hot pursuit. He might be able to get another shot or 2 off, but IdrA should be okay to get that back home into the protection of his queen, plus hopefully a few more Zerglings. Here comes that pressure though, early game here from Minigun, and he's going straight up into the main right now. We'll first start to work on this queen. We have a couple Zerglings coming on down. Hopefully he engages with that zealot. There we go, more Zerglings coming out, 2 more in production as well. Zealot getting surrounded with the help of that queen, able to take him out. Regular Zerglings trying to catch up to the stalker. That will not happen though, as long as the stalker keeps heading his way back home. He shouldn't be taking any more damage right now from those Zerglings. As you can see, try as they might, they are not able to actually catch up to that stalker, and the shields are recharging, and he is a-okay. So making his way back on up home. We do have a sentry here to help out, and there we go, a couple shots from the high ground from that sentry. Beautiful work, and trapped in the corner, but there's the force field. Only concern right now is that those Zerglings could go straight up into the main right now, but beautifully timed second sentry would have prevented that from happening. And now with those 2 sentries plus the stalker, that'll be enough to deal with this small amount of Zerglings. Couple more Zerglings trying to do what they can, but 1 or 2 nicely placed force fields will certainly protect Minigun's early game units from any of this pressure. And actually very interesting here, Minigun is going the 3-gate Nexus, but then immediately dropping a Forge. That is certainly an interesting play by him. We do have that Overlord Sacrificial Scout is firstly moving in right now, and that one will be used as a secondary Sacrificial Scout later down the road. Spore Crawler again placed down right now for IdrA, also coming out with that Roach Warren. The Evolution Chamber coming out with the melee upgrades. Now, unfortunately, 4 sentries, these Speedlings can't really push on that. They can try. There's some more reinforcements, though, and this is actually a good opportunity right now for IdrA to do a little bit of damage. You can see trying to move on in, but unfortunately, those sentries are a little bit too scary. IdrA just kind of dancing around, and there we go. Trying to move further around, forcing those force fields to get laid down, though, and that's actually pretty nice there by IdrA, because I think he only lost 1 or 2 Zerglings there, but he forced that energy use right there, so IdrA can use this to his advantage and push out against those sentries. You know, before a big push, although it doesn't really look like IdrA is planning a big push at the moment, but before a big push, what you can do is you can try to slowly engage and force those sentries to use up their energy, and that way when the push does come, you'll have sentries with less energy, so that means less of a force field wall. Now, we did actually see the hallucination research come up for Minigun, so he will be getting his scouting done with that, not opening up with that quick robo for that observer. So scouting with the hallucinated phoenixes is what will be expected here from Minigun. 2 simulators coming down at that expansion, and Minigun probably just be sitting on these 2 bases for a little while. Now back over here for IdrA, what does he have going on? Layer Tech finally coming on through. Level 1 melee upgrades are just about finished for those Zerglings. There's that Phoenix Scout, and first and foremost, is he going straight? Yes, he is. It looks like he will be going straight for that 3rd expansion, actually moving right by that high yield as well, just in case IdrA felt ballsy enough to actually come out and try to get that. But here we go, scouting out that 3rd. He's now fully aware that IdrA is moving into that 3rd expansion. The timing and everything he is now aware of. Robo finally coming out right now for Minigun. In terms of gateways, it looks like he is sitting on just the 3. So 3 gateways plus the Robo is what we're going to be seeing here early game from Minigun. Speedlings continue trying to push forward and engage, and wow, that was a lot of force fields. I do not know that that was that necessary. That was quite a hefty amount of force fields on Minigun laid down there. We can see in terms of resources lost right now, IdrA is a little bit behind, losing some of these Speedlings during these engagements, and actually will we be seeing a quick 3rd here from Minigun as well in response to scouting the 3rd of IdrA. Looks like that is in fact exactly what we will be seeing. This is going to be used for some gateway wall off right here, plus some cannons behind that, plus that 3rd expansion. IdrA does have the Speedlings capable of scouting right now, and it looks like that is what they will be doing. Nope, never mind, just sitting right there at the corner of the base, and we're going to be seeing a small push here from Minigun, or no? I guess not, and there is the 3rd expansion from Minigun, so Minigun getting that 3rd. Once more, we will be expecting some gateways and cannons to be placed over there. IdrA with those Zerglings scouting out Minigun's 3rd as well. Now, this is a good opportunity for IdrA. IdrA could try to push right now off of his 3 bases against this 3rd. If he tries to just mount up a force right now, this could actually put him in a pretty decent position. We do have that roach speed just about finished. Some Immortals will be coming out here from Minigun as well. Observer Scouts finally moving across the map. And again, we're going to be getting some good scouting. Doesn't want to waste any more of those Sentry energy on Phoenixes. Might as well just use that Observer. Here comes a little small contingent of Roach army over here. A couple Speedlings in this position as well. There are the gateways and cannons as expected. We do have a few sentries being warped in to lay down some force fields if necessary. And IdrA is actually moving back right now with his roaches, deciding not to engage. Does have an infestation bid coming out. That is 50% of the way finished right now. Melee weapons level 2 coming for his ground units as well. And never mind, IdrA won't be pushing anytime immediately, given the fact that he has decided to move up onto this 4th. So again, IdrA doing what he can to stay 1 base above his Protoss opponent there. Pretty basic standard stuff there as a Zerg player. Also, fanning out with those Overlords, we'll be getting some additional scouting down, checking out these 4th and 5th expansions over here, the possible expansions for Minigun, because if Minigun does decide to take that, once more, that will be something that IdrA needs to be aware of. Lots of Overlords chilling out on the side right now, and since those Overlords have the speed, it will be much easier to move on in with some scouting. Now, I want to take a look at the production buildings. Looks like we're still sitting pretty gateway heavy. We do have a Twilight Council coming out right now as well for Minigun. So, a very macro-focused game this time. Not any really strong aggression coming from either player. We saw IdrA poke around with some Zerglings. That didn't really do much, and just got pretty much scouting information. And then we saw that small little push early on as well from Minigun with the Zealot and Stalker. But besides that, has just been a macro game. Now, with that said, let's take a look at upgrades. 1-1 right now here for Minigun in terms of weapons and armor. And looks like that will be the same situation. No, that's the ranged guys. What am I looking at? I need to look at melee. There we go. We got 0-1 right now, and 0-2 just about to finish Pathogen glands coming out. Those will be finished just in time for those infestors to pop, giving them that extra energy once they do go ahead and get through. We are seeing some nice creep spread over here from IdrA, once more delaying and scouting out any possible additional expansions for Minigun. He does also have this tower that will tip him off if Minigun decides to take the high yield expansion. So there's IdrA at his 4th base right now, mounting up his forces. He will be going Speedling, Roach, Infestor. Also some Neuroparasite action coming out. We do have a Dark Shrine coming out after the completion. Whoa, what's going on? There's an Overload over there. We have a Dark Shrine coming out after the completion of that Twilight Council. Some additional Observer Scouts moving across the map. So again, just macro from both players right now. Hive Tech coming out as well for IdrA, working his way up to those greater upgrades. He could be getting those weapons level 3 from that. Once that does go ahead and finish, also could very well be working his way up into Broodlord. Something to certainly consider. We do have a Spore as well as a Spine Crawler coming down over here, and this will be great defense for IdrA against those Dark Templar. Again, the Dark Templar will be coming out momentarily. I'm not sure where that Dark Shrine is actually located, in all honesty. Let me take a look if I can find it. There we go. So Dark Shrine is at that natural expansion. Ooh, look at this. Could be seeing some drop harass here from Minigun. We do have a late game. Actually, you know what this will be for is the Dark Templar. So we'll be pushing forward to go ahead and warp in some Dark Templar into the main of IdrA. Is IdrA aware of this at the moment? No, he is not. He cannot see that. So these Dark Templar will be warped in very shortly right now. Still, again, not a lot of action going on for either player, but the Dark Templar finally coming in. And oh no, the Fungals just barely missing, and the DT haven't been hit by the Fungals yet, and look at them go to town on those Infestors. That was beautiful. Still haven't been spotted. Infestors taking more and more damage right now. Unbelievable. He killed a lot of Infestors there. Very, very nice play by Minigun. At the same time, working his way towards the middle of the map, getting control of that tower, and then grabbing that high yield expansion. That turned out beautifully there for Minigun. He lost the War Prism. But those first few fungal growths from IdrA's Infestors completely missed. Absolutely completely missed those Dark Templar, and that allowed Minigun to snipe out quite a few of them with those DTs. So very, very nice play there by Minigun. Worked out quite well. An unfortunate situation for IdrA missing those fungal growths. So we can see IdrA actually moving across the map right now. What is he dealing with? He isn't dealing with any Dark Templar. I was wondering if he was dealing with some harass, but it doesn't look to be the case. Now at the moment, we do need to make sure that Minigun is able to properly defend this expansion. Losing this could be pretty detrimental, especially as IdrA continues to macro up. And look at the mass Speedling force right now. IdrA is supply capped with mostly Speedlings, Roaches, and Infestors as well. Here we go, some big storms going down on those Infestors. Roaches trying to push against the army. Speedlings getting a full surround here on this expansion. This is pretty devastating right now in terms of the amount of damage that it is getting done. All the Infestors get taken out. We do still have a few more Roaches going to town. Speedlings doing what they can, and it looks like they may force the cancel of this expansion. Minigun should be able to warp in some more units sometime soon, but it doesn't look like he is doing that. Still, the expansion was forced to cancel there from the massive amounts of damage from these Speedlings. We do have a few DT being warped in over here, so Minigun will be starting to work on IdrA's expansions over in this position. But again, we did see Minigun lose that high yield expansion. That is certainly something that hurt him quite a bit. And the DT forcing the cancel over here. Here come the Infestors though, landing down those fungal growths. Let's see if he can get any Infestor kills. Does he get the one? Yes, he does. Is he going to get a second? No, it looks like he was fungal growthed in place. Never mind. Was the Overseer that actually gave his position away there. We do have the War Prism. We'll be forced to push away right now, but no, there's the fungal growths dropping down the Dark Templar as a result, going straight for the Infestor, but the Overseer allows him to spot that. Zerglings take him out. Very nice defense there by IdrA. Could have certainly been much more devastating there. Now let's take a look at the unit loss tab, the resources lost. It does look like IdrA is slightly behind, but in all honesty, not that much. Yes, he has lost a lot more units than Minigun, but realize that most of those are going to be Speedlings, and that's why resource-wise they are about even right now. So still really anyone's game. There's really no deciding victor at the moment right now. Speedling's actually moving across for IdrA, and he will be moving in to attempt to do some economic damage right over here in this position. And is he going to be able to get any through? He does manage to get a surround right there, and should be going. Is he going straight for the cannon, or will he go straight for the workers? No, actually forced to push back because a few of those Zealots do get warped in. No counter harass at all coming from Minigun right now. Speedlings pushing right now in here, and this is a much better position for them to engage. We'll be going straight for those workers, and look how many workers over here. Those Speedlings have an opportunity to do a lot of damage. However, a few warped in Zealots plus that cannon should be enough of a defense. We do have an attempted DT harass over here. That does get quickly mopped up by IdrA. Lots of damage does get dealt, but those DT plus the Zealot warp in. Still, one more Speedling still continuing to go to work on all of these workers here for Minigun, and Minigun finally getting up that 4th expansion right now. We'll be working to get that saturated. Most of Minigun's forces sitting in the middle, and here comes that late game tech right now for IdrA, working his way up into Broodlords. He's trying to get that big death Zerg ball moving out right now, and if he can get those Broodlords in play, those will be very effective against what Minigun has, especially with all those Infestors to lay in Fungal Growth on those Stalkers. Here comes the push right now from Minigun. He is getting ready to push across the map. He'll be walking right into the Broodlords right now. Here come the Fungal Growth as inspected. He needs some Fungals on the high ground, though, to protect those Broodlords. Speedlings moving up, walking right into Storms, and the Storms shredding through those Speedlings. But the Fungal Growth damage intense. Couple of feedbacks, unfortunately, don't manage to kill any of those Infestors. They just didn't have enough energy to actually get the kill from that. A few more units getting warped in, and IdrA continuing to make his slow push. He has got a lot of Broodlords right now, plenty of Infestors with lots of energy as well, so he has a lot more Fungal Growth to lay down on Minigun's army. Nothing, no response at all from Minigun. He is just on the defensive at the moment, so here we go. The Broodlord and Infestor push. Lots of Speedlings coming out as well to help these forces. Trying to push forward with that high Templar. That doesn't work. Big Fungal Growth going down on those Stalkers as they blink forward. Few infested Terrans as well, and those Broodlords doing a lot of damage. Nice Neural Parasite there on the Immortal, used to target fire down those Stalkers, and Minigun is being pushed further and further back right now. IdrA continuing to make his push across the map, and he's getting ready to work on the high yield expansion right now of Minigun. Minigun needs those Blink Stalkers to be able to take out those Broodlords, but he is not target firing, and there's another Fungal Growth, and those Infestors doing a great job. Couple DT will be working down those Infestors, but is it too late? And I think it may be. IdrA with this strong Broodlord push. There are not enough Blink Stalkers anymore for Minigun to be able to deal with this. Minigun's resources getting very low. Lots of Speedlings still on the map to help with those Stalkers as well. And these Broodlords doing tremendous amounts of damage right now, just tearing through Minigun's army. Next on the plate will be that Nexus. And there you go, Minigun calling the GG. This game we saw Minigun go 3-gate expand into a quick forge. Scouting out the expansion, IdrA attempted some aggression but wasn't able to do much damage with the Sentry Heavy Force plus the cannon here for Minigun. And as a result, we just saw IdrA move right into his 3rd expansion. Both players continued to macro up as we saw IdrA move into his 4th, while Minigun took his 3rd. At the 15-minute mark, Minigun moved out with the first effective harass. He wasn't able to do a lot of econ damage here, but some missed Fungal Growths allowed his Dark Templar to tear through IdrA's Infestors. After that DT harass, Minigun moved into that high yield expansion. However, IdrA pushing out with a very Speedling heavy counterattack plus some Roaches and Infestors was able to force the cancel of this Expo. Now IdrA wasn't actually able to break Minigun here, but the fact that he delayed this Expo helped him out tremendously. IdrA then took his 5th and 6th expansion. IdrA worked into a late game unit composition of Broodlord, Infestor, Speedling, and even with Blink Stalkers, Minigun was really unable to handle this. He just did not have the forces necessary, with the Infestors landing some beautiful Fungal Growths, taking out the Stalkers, plus this massive amount of Broodlords. IdrA was able to push out against the high yield of Minigun and force the GG. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. This was game number 2 here between IdrA and Minigun. We will be moving on to the 3rd and final game in just one moment. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the series so far. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.